There are plenty of movies in the past 2 or so years that have caught my eye in one way or another, perhaps even making a watch list that I've set and forgot somewhere. But I wasn't about to let Companion be one of those. I may not be particularly familiar with director Drew Hancock and his respected filmography, including such titles as Fred 3, Camp Fred, and of course, Fred the Show. But I am a huge fan of Jack Quaid as an actor. First seeing him in Scream 5, but enjoying his usual archetype of performances as the down on his luck everyman with a Sisyphean life that always seems to be going wrong. And seeing that he was leading not one but two movies early this year, I was hooked from the word go, and Companion was getting great reviews at the time. So, I watched it pretty much as soon as I could. I did see one trailer, and I would recommend to anyone who hasn't yet seen the movie to avoid all trailers and watch it without any prior knowledge. Nonetheless, I did thoroughly enjoy my time. Now, I may have mentioned my love for Jack Quaid, but truthfully, he's playing second fiddle to Sophie Thatcher, even after an excellent performance. I'm not very familiar with her, however, I haven't seen Yellow Jackets, although I have heard several people recommend it, but the main character Iris is probably the best part of the movie. She's very likable and relatable. I loved that the movie opens with her and Josh's meet cute. I thought it was a little cheesy at first, but it's not just there for an emotional hook or to get you invested in the romance. It's self-aware and subverts the trope a little, before adding a really nice bit of suspense that penetrates the rest of the movie as the plot unfolds. I really like the premise of the movie too, even if it's not incredibly unique. We've seen these types of relationships in previous media, but it's never really been the focus of a story, at least from what I've seen. And honing in on how it would be seen, treated, how the parties involved would feel, what kind of person would be willing to start one, what misusing the status of the relationship could lead to, it's all really good stuff, and I think that the writers did a really good job. And I feel like they do a lot of interesting stuff with the main concept. Props to you, Drew. You've clearly learned from your past mistakes. There's plenty of scenes with effective comedy that is also derived from using key aspects of the main concept that show the thought put into the darkly comedic angles of the character interactions. And it's really refreshing that the movie knows when to lighten up and when to take itself seriously. Generally in how the characters act, since most of them are pretty goofy. But that's not the whole story, since there's still some unsettling events with pretty heavy themes of manipulation and abuse, both emotional and physical. Particularly focusing on the manipulation in relationships and the types of abuse that go on there. So if you are sensitive to that, then please be careful. I thought all of these weren't particularly heavy-handed and clearly implemented with care to service the story and character dynamics, but the movie also has a lot to say about freedom and how everyone should have the autonomy to choose their own path and make their own decisions. Which you might think, yeah, duh, that's nothing new. But then you can just take a look at America. And my god, this world sucks. I was also really interested in the commentary of trophy wives and gold diggers. Those are usually only implemented with movies with one character being a misogynist and a womanizer, and people laugh at them or talk about how bad they are and nothing really comes of it. Or they have an old man or whatever, and he's being a complete pig to his young, hot wife, and the people are like, oh, why are they together? I wonder. But they actually tie it into the main character conflicts of two pretty important figures. It works really well with the motivations into the inciting incident along with this. I think the movie was also just paced really well. They laid out what each character's goals were, and there was never a point where I thought anyone was acting out of character from what they were trying to achieve, or that the movie was dragging its feet. Yeah, there were some segments that were clearly for comedic effect, but they were cute, and I can forgive the movie for having some good comedy. I thought the first act was a really engaging way to introduce us to the characters. The second act was really tense and thrilling with some of the best comedic segments. I love the variety in the bits because I'm someone who really appreciates good comedy, to the point where I annoy my friends by overanalyzing my and other people's bits. Yeah, I'm that guy. The third act was also very climactic and satisfying. There's some scenes in here that are really shocking, and some people probably found it disturbing. I didn't, because I'm already disturbed. To me, Crazy Frog is just a normal frog. You want to know how I got these scars? Sharp Dorito. But even paired with the grit and the nasty stuff, I was also quite engaged with the romantic parts of the movie. There's some scenes that are just plain adorable, and I can be a sucker for love stories at times, especially when they're between two goofballs. I don't think the movie was perfect, though. I think that they go a little too heavy with the foreshadowing in the early stages of the movie, Which sucks because there's a Chekhov's gun that's built up to very subtly, to the point where I did get a little suspicious the second time it showed up, but I didn't expect what it was used for. I also think the setting wasn't too interesting. It wasn't bad, but there wasn't anything particularly unique about it, and it's a little generic for a horror adjacent movie to take place in the woods. On top of that, with the premise of the movie, there's nothing else that really fits the world they're in. It's a hard thing to talk about without spoilers, but I just think showing other places a little more, even if they were unrelated, would have built up to an important twist a little better. I do like the focus sticking to the main few characters though. It makes their impact on the story and each other much greater and makes the narrative tighter overall. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with Companion. It was a fun time with some funny bits and some excellent themes that really made me connect with the characters. I'd highly recommend it to anyone who likes horror, even if it is more horror adjacent. I think everyone should avoid marketing and trailers and just go right into it, and you'll find at least some enjoyment. So I give Companion an 8.5 out of 10. Good stuff.